Back to the events that happened this afternoon about 3 miles northeast of where I am right now. Dozens of people packed Glenn Memorial Church at Emory University. The hallowed space hosted a memorial service for the late former First Lady. Attendees included President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, former President Bill Clinton, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, Governor Brian Kemp, and Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens. Atlanta News First political reporter Doug Reardon is live tonight outside that church, and Doug, some heavy hitters there at this service today.
Right, Blair, some of the most influential and important people in the world were here at Glenn Memorial today, and it really shows the impact that this role-changing First Lady had on the world of politics. But maybe even more significant and impactful here was getting to see her family and friends trickle into the church this afternoon. There were far more of them here, certainly, today than there were dignitaries, and they proved that even though Rosalynn Carter may have traveled the world, she never traveled very far from her roots. A long life celebrated Tuesday inside the walls of Glenn Memorial Church at Emory University. Friends, family, and dignitaries honoring a woman who reshaped the role of First Lady.
She would repeat to herself, "A leader takes people where they want to go. A great leader takes people where they need to go."
Rosalynn Carter was an equal partner in her husband's administration. She kept an office in the White House, regularly attended cabinet meetings, and even embarked on foreign diplomacy trips. Her beloved husband of 77 years, sitting in a wheelchair in the front row, legs draped in a blanket. The Georgia-born First Lady continued her staunch advocacy well after leaving Washington, taking on mental health reform and starting the Rosalynn Carter Institute for Caregivers.
Rosalynn's compassion and empathy for those who are suffering was boundless. Her passion for action even more so.
But all the while remaining a loyal wife and a loving family member.
She was my grandmother first, and she was like everyone else's grandmother in a lot of ways. Almost all of her recipes call for mayonnaise, for example. We all got cards from her on our birthdays. $20 bill in it. When I was 45, $20 bill.
Carter was 96 years old and had been in hospice for just 2 days, battling dementia when she died. Her daughter Amy eulogizing her mother through a letter Rosalynn received from Jimmy Carter when he was in the Navy.
While I am away, I try to convince myself that you really are not, could not be, as sweet and beautiful as I remember. But when I see you, I fall in love with you all over again. Does that seem strange to you? It doesn't to me. Goodbye, darling. Until tomorrow. Jimmy.
And you have to imagine that Jimmy Carter was thinking the very same thing that he notated in that letter, sitting in the front row today. So she will now travel to Plains, Rosalynn Carter will, and of course that is where she spent most of her life. That is where they built the very same house that they still lived in up until the day that she died in 1961. Now, I just want to note that that ceremony was held here at Emory because of the decades-old partnership between this university and the Carter Center. They were a big help in helping establish and found that really helpful institution. We are live from Emory tonight. Doug Reardon, Atlanta News First.